So what does it mean to be on your Grizzly? It means hard work, dedication, and it means progress beyond your Grizzly. Hard work, dedication, and progress.
I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me.
Coming to you from the City of Angels, this is the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Grizzly Podcast. This is our third season. I am your host, Irvin Scott, and today I am joined by a special guest. You guys might remember her for various things. She's best known for her roles on Nickelodeon sketch comedy show All That. She also appeared on NBC's sitcom One World. She has made several guest appearances on various television series such as HBO's 6 Feet Under, Lifetime, Strong Medicine, NYPD Blue, ER, Without a Trace, Boston Public, and more. She provided the voice of La Cienega Boulevardez in the Disney Channel animated series The Proud Family. She reprises her role as La Cienega Boulevardez in the series continuation The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, which is currently streaming on Disney+. She's also seen on Nickelodeon's latest reboot of All That. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, actress and singer, Alisa Reyes. Woo!
Oh, yeah. That was a beautiful introduction. I'm going to take you everywhere I go. That was awesome.
Appreciate you. Alisa, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm a big fan of your work. I mean, I've been watching you since I was a kid. I watched you on All That. I watched you on The Proud Family. And I'm not going to lie to you, hopefully your husband's not hearing, but I had a tiny crush on you when I was a kid.
Aw, that's so sweet. That means a lot to me. I've been doing this for a long time. My little joke is I'm immortal, right? And aren't we all immortal, really? And, I just feel really blessed to be doing what I love and, to be thriving in the midst of what I like to call organized chaos right now. Everything that's going on in the world, I feel really blessed to be in a really grounding spot and, having previous fans and new fans get acquainted with all of the content that I've been doing. I really couldn't have asked for anything more, especially with, the revival of The Proud Family and the reboot of All That on Nickelodeon. It's just really been two full circle moments for me in the past couple of years. And I'm just trying to ride the wave as gracefully as possible.
That's a cool thing to see because, these were like major shows that people grew up watching and they did such a tremendous job then. And to have you guys included in the new reboots is always a very interesting thing to see as well, because, The Proud Family basically picks up where you guys last left off in a sense. Obviously you're older now.
Yes.
And we'll get into that too. But, let's talk about how this whole journey started. Let's talk about your career and how you actually entered the entertainment industry. So let's take him back. Just from what I read, you were born and raised in New York. You're
yes.
Irish, Italian, and Dominican.
The United Nations. That's what I like to call myself.
Okay. All right. I dig it. And on top of that, Alisa, you actually began your journey as a kid. You were 8 years old. You started modeling. You attended the Professional Performing Arts School, and there you focused on musical theater. What was that like?
It was awesome. I told my mother, God rest her soul, that I wanted to be an actor at a very young age. And I was very blessed to have a mother who was immensely supportive, a family that, was immensely supportive as well. But I came from, a family where some had concerns and they were like, we don't want this to rip her childhood away. And I said, listen, I, at probably 3 or 4, was telling my family that I wanted to be on TV so bad that I stuck my head in the TV. And my mother's like, honey, that's not the way you can get to Sesame Street. By the time I was 7, I felt like my voice was finally heard. But finally to pursue a career professionally is around the age of 7 years old. And I remember my mom and we took little 4x6s, black and white. I was wearing it looked like a quinceañera dress and my hair was crimped. And I mean, talk about, late 80s. And we just said a prayer, And I was like, dear Jesus, please let somebody like just see my photo. And we were like looking through the phone book and just kind of like, crossing, our fingers and closing our eyes and pointing, for whoever. I mean, we knew some actor friends and we found out a couple of agencies that I could submit myself to. And lo and behold, we got a call from a company called Tracy's Kids, and they had me come in, and I did what's called a cold reading, which is basically they give you a script on the spot. And I think I did something like Smucker's Jams and Jellies, as a little girl. And I did this commercial script, and she brought my mother in and she goes, we're going to sign her. And I was like, are you serious? Just like that? They're like, yeah, you got spunk. We see something in you. I had no experience other than just perfecting my craft and learning how to sing and dance. And I was taking acting classes at a young age. And I kid you not, one of the first auditions that I had was for Honey Nut Cheerios. It was a national commercial, and I booked it and allowed me to join Screen Actors Guild, which is now SAG-AFTRA, in 1990. And once that opened, I kind of felt like, once you get one thing, you get the Midas touch. And it was a domino effect of just blessings that God bestowed upon me. But it was a lot of hard work too. I mean, I was told no just as much as I was told yes. You know what I mean? So I never gave up. I've had a passion at a very young age. I majored in musical theater. I went to the Old Fame School in New York, in Manhattan. I'm originally from New York, like you mentioned, and I just stayed on it. I paid my dues doing background work as a kid. I did industrial work. I was doing commercial print modeling. I was a fit model for Macy's as a little girl. I did everything I could as long as I was working, and I was like a sponge. I wanted to learn everything. A lot of people, they expect to come into a craft and things just be handed to them, but you got to put the work in. I'm big on the law of attraction. What you put out comes back to you. So, God wants to see that you want it. And once you stay persistent, eventually all that hard work is going to pay off. And that's kind of where I am and why I am where I am right now.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think that hard work definitely paid off, because in 1992, you appeared in Mariah Carey's music video for her single, Make It Happen.
Yes.
I mean, that is a major deal as well. I mean, you got a chance to be in Mariah Carey's video. What was that like, being a part of a music video for someone as iconic as Mariah Carey?
And who knew at that time that she was going to be as famous as she is now? I mean, I knew the minute I met her, and the minute I heard her voice, I was like, wow, she is magical. And I thought she was absolutely stunning and beautiful. I'll never forget how pretty her curly hair was. And when I had got cast to do that, I remember it, like I said, I had done background work as a kid. I think it's a lot of people, they're finicky about what background work is, but it's a great way for you to learn what it's like to be on a set. And it really sincerely humbles you. And what people don't realize is it's a great way to network. So I did a plethora of different jobs where I had done background work. And so I had got cast to be one of the kids in it, but she had handpicked a certain amount of kids to be on stage with her, and I was one of them. And I'll never forget, it was me and a couple other kids, and I'm dancing by her doing the Running Man and the Roger Rabbit. And, who knew at that time that song Make It Happen was going to be as successful as it was. And I remember when I had seen the video, it was done so artistically beautifully, with the kind of like the sepia color, and it was in brown, and it was in a church, and it kind of had this vintage feel. It was a special moment. And it's really funny because, IMDb is a database for actors. So a couple of years ago, I saw that they finally added that credit, and it's just me and Mariah Carey listed as the people that were in the video, nobody else. I was like, oh, there was a million other people, but I thought that was hilarious that, that one of those first jobs that I had finally got like randomly acknowledged. It was just kind of funny seeing that on IMDb. It was just her and I listed. I thought that was funny.
You are definitely somebody that I felt could represent what this show is about. And you definitely do that. This is the Grizzly Podcast, and the Grizzly Podcast is basically about highlighting people such as yourself who are constantly on their grind, constantly working towards their dreams, their goals. And you continue to inspire everybody around the world. Because, as a kid, I used to watch you on all that. And I said, man, like, how cool would it have been to be a part of such a cool show, or at least an iconic show such as Nickelodeon's All That? Because, when you watch it, you got, positive vibes just watching the show. It felt like such a great time. How did that whole thing come about?
I remember when I was around 12, I had gotten a call from my manager, Marilyn Zittner in Manhattan, New York, saying that there was an audition for a sketch comedy show that was Untitled for Nickelodeon / Viacom, because a lot of people don't realize Viacom is also associated with Nickelodeon. And they wanted, people that really had the chops to be a stand-up comedian. It was kind of like an SNL for kids. And I remember saying to my manager, I'm outgoing, I am sassy, I will get up and sing and tap dance and do a round off flip and do whatever I need to do. But I don't really have a lot of stand-up comedy experience, but I find myself kind of like the center of attention and someone that was always trying to perform for my family and friends. I was never shy, and I always wanted to be, auditioning for school plays or things like that. So I said, all right, I'm going to do it. And I remember my mom and I stayed up all night writing a stand-up comedy routine about a girl that had a sister that had hairy armpits, and the hair would travel throughout the house, and it would be in my pancake syrup when I was eating pancakes in the morning, and I'd be able to swing on a vine. And then I remember my mom was like, all right, so how are we going to create, we wrote a routine about a funny story, but how are we going to create characters? And I go, well, Mom, look at my wall. I have all these different hats on my wall. So my mom's like, let's do something called a grab bag, where you take all your hats and you put them in a bag, and every hat that you take out, you're a different entity, a different person. So I did that. One character, I was a Rosie Perez. One character, I remember I was imitating Criss Cross and doing jump, like I was, a rapper. One character, I was making fun of a family member. So I went in there really fearless, not knowing exactly what the hell I was doing, but I was confident. And I didn't care what I had to do. I just wanted them to see that I wanted it so bad and that I was willing to try. And I remember they had asked me to make fun of different family members, because as a comedian, the number one rule is if you can't make fun of yourself and you can't make fun of, people in your tribe, you can't make fun of anybody else. So I was, impersonating my Dominican side of the family all the way down to my Irish Italian side of the family. And 7 callbacks later, 7, I ended up finding out that Kenan, Thompson, and I were the last of the Mohegans. And we literally, were the ones to seal the deal. And I'll never forget getting the call that I got it. I think I just dropped and cried, because it was my first series regular role. Everything else before was just commercials and modeling and hosting and little parts like that. And they flew me out to Orlando, Florida. And I would say the hardest transition was I was legit about to start 9th grade. So my whole high school years were on and off, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. And, I was in and out of homeschooling, in and out of, I went to a special school that was equipped for actors. It was the Old Fame School in New York. My prom, my homecoming, even my graduation, everything was kind of done a little backwards for me. But like I said, I wouldn't have had it any other way. I have no regrets. And, that's what a lot of family members get concerned about, is like, they want to keep things traditional, but sometimes you got to break tradition and you got to do what's best for your soul. And this was what was a part of my essence and soul. And when I got off the plane, I met everyone for the first time in the trailer where I was doing homeschooling. That's where I met Josh and Kenan and Lori Beth and Angelique and Katrina. And I went, wow, we are a melting pot. And I knew we had something special the minute we started our first rehearsal. And then the rest was magic and history.
You guys were all different in your own way. You had Kenan, you had Kel, you had Lori Beth. But what was it like just working with a different group of people that, all had their own unique talent that they brought to the table? What was that like being a part of that cast? And what was it like working with all these people?
It was a really great frequency and a blessing. I learned so much from my co-stars, yet at the same time, it really gave me a newfound boost of morale. We all were so uniquely different that there was always room for all of us. What was great too was the writers and the creator, Brian Robbins, who went from being the president of Nickelodeon now to the president of Paramount. They allowed us to creatively input ideas for our characters or even storylines, hence where Kiki the Island Girl came to be. I think they were probably watching me just be loca on set and they're like, oh, that's Kiki. And then seeing how Lori Beth interacted with me, they're like, that's Fran. And, working alongside Kel Mitchell and Kenan Thompson, they just had a fun frequency that like, I was always laughing. And, it was constantly just fun and entertaining. Sometimes it did not feel like work. And then there were times where definitely, you wanted to challenge yourself because, I was growing as an actor, learning how to do accents and learning how to do actual slapstick physical comedy. And that alone really just, for me as an actor, they say comedy is the hardest thing for an actor to do. So to do it at such a young age, I kind of feel like I did everything and experienced everything backwards, that it helped ease me in to more of my theatrical roles that I did later in life, and then into my voiceover work and so forth. So it really opened up the door for me and really helped pave the way.
You're remembered for playing various characters on all that. You mentioned one of the characters earlier, and that character to me always stood out. That was Kiki, the Island Girl. Tell us a little bit about Kiki and what was it like playing that role?
So much fun. She's like a spin on Marianne from Gilligan's Island. Lori Beth Denberg and I played Kiki and Fran, where we are stuck on a deserted island. And every time we have the opportunity to get off the island, me, good old Kiki, always ruins the day. And I'm like, we don't want to leave the island. We want to stay here forever. And at the end, I sing this iconic nostalgic song where I, go forever and ever and ever. So being able to reprise the role back 15, 20 years later, on the new All That, was emotional, serendipitous, and just so full circle moment. And I'll never forget when I got the script and found out I was doing Island Girls again with Lori Beth. It was like as if we never left the set. They made the set the center sketch for the live studio audience that week. No pressure, right? And everybody, like execs and writers and producers, everyone came down to watch this. And I remember like even going through the wardrobe fitting, like, I'm like, I hope I fit in the outfit still, but I did. I fit in the outfit. Thanks be to God. Only difference is like, I put on some eyelashes and some extra bronzer. But overall, it really honestly was like we never left. And I kid you not to toot my own horn, but Lori Beth and I didn't skip a beat, nailed every line. And it was really euphoric. It was probably one of the highlights for sure of my career, just because not everyone has an opportunity to have a full circle moment like that. And I feel really blessed because there were so many great cast members and it was on for such a long run that I know fans would have loved to see everybody come back, so the fact that just a couple of us had the honor of passing down the torch to the new cast, I was very blessed and humbled that I was able to be part of that frequency. And for that, I'll be very thankful and grateful to Nickelodeon and to my tribe there for allowing me to come back and be a part of that alignment.
I got to ask you, what was it like, being a part of that reboot and just working with the new cast? Do you feel like it's, similar to what you guys did back in the day? Or do you feel like they've added their own touch to it, their own spin on it? What's it like being a part of that new All That reboot?
Similar. It's just we didn't have cell phones or social media. So the kids were like taking selfies with us and we were doing TikToks and we were doing boomerangs and all this stuff. And I just was, enjoying the inner child aspect of it all. But I was totally also just bonding with their amazing parents because I know exactly what the parents went through and I know exactly what the kids are going through. But meeting the kids, honestly, it was so special. They are all so special. And I stay in touch with all of them pretty much. It was like they were the little versions of us And I got a chance to meet all of them for the first time at the Good Burger pop-up that Kel Melchill was doing. I would say like a couple months or maybe 6 months before I found out I was going to go back and do a couple episodes of the new All That. And they were just so humbled and so excited to meet all of us. And I remember like meeting Gabrielle, and I was going, oh, you're like the little mini version of me, you know? And we took a picture together, and I was like, oh my God, I could be like your aunt, not mother, your aunt. And, you know, just they honestly, they have a vibration that is so uniquely different from us, but yet they add their own je ne sais quoi. I mean, Reese and Lex and, Kate and Nathan and just all of the kids. I adore them, and they are now doing such great things. You know, Nickelodeon now has them kind of doing other things, and they're all doing their own things on their own accord as well. So no matter what happens with all that, right? I know they have great things in their future and in their path. And it was just really an honor to work alongside them. And they, if anything, you know, help me grow as I hope I help them grow at the same time.
You were on All That for at least 3 seasons. Seasons 1,
yes,
to the 1, 2, and 3, and eventually after All That, you went on to a different row. You actually went on to NBC's One World.
One World, Peter Engel show.
Peter Engel's One World. You played the role of Marci Blake on that show. What was it like being a part of Peter Engel's One World?
Well, what a lot of people don't know is after All That, and it's a blessing because once you become a series regular on something, you know, it opens up a door of abundance and opportunity. So like I had a lot of great audition opportunities. Like a lot of people don't know, I auditioned to be Juliet in the Romeo and Juliet movie that was opposite of Leonardo DiCaprio. Claire Danes ended up getting it. I auditioned to be Princess Leia in Star Wars, and Natalie Portman, you know, got it. You know, I had gotten seen by a lot of different casting for a lot of different projects. And I remember Peter Engel kind of had his eye on me for this one show, and I had auditioned for it in New York. And I remember when I read the script, I was like, Mom, this is different. It's a sitcom. It's an ongoing storyline, right? So it's something different than All That. Because All That was like In Living Color, Mad TV, SNL. So, you know, you were constantly playing different things, but to have a storyline, you know, made me kind of feel like I was a part of a different frequency. And I remember when I read it, I was like, I like Marci Blake. It was about adopted brothers and sisters that were all diverse. And my character was the Cuban-born entrepreneur. She was kind of like the Michael J. Fox of Family Ties. She was always trying to make a dollar out of anything. So I had auditioned, I think maybe twice, and they brought me in for like a third callback or something like that. They put me on tape for Peter Engel, and then I got a call to experience my first screen test where I got flown from New York to California, and they put my mom and I up in this fancy hotel. I think it was the Hilton at Universal Studios. And I remember it was between like me and like one other girl. And I remember I looked at the other girl, and she was pretty, very different look than me, a little older looking. And I said, Mom, I got this. I got this. And I remember I was so memorized with my lines. I could just go like that and be ready and be in the character. And I remember I had to do a fitting. They dressed me up for it. I even did photos. They took photos of us, like to see and match us as a cast. And I remember I went in, and Peter Engel was sitting in a chair in the middle of this big office, and all his like execs were around him, like no pressure. And I just went in as Marci Blake. I said my lines. I said, thank you. I walked right out. And I think later on that day, this was like, you know, when cell phones were first starting to come out, I get a call. I go into my hotel room and the light's beeping, but I have a message. So my mom and I went down to the lobby, and they're like, yes, you have a message from Peter Engel's office. So I'm like, I don't know, I get it. We called him on a payphone. We called him on a payphone in the lobby. And I'll never forget this. The first thing he says to me, he goes, hi, Marci Blake. And I just started crying. And, you know, I basically found out that I couldn't go back home. I had to stay in LA. Mommy had to go and basically, pack up everything because we were about to shoot. And luckily I had some family friends in California. So, I think I was around 16. So I had to stay with someone for just a week or two until my mom came back for us to set up shop and temporarily relocate. And that's when I started to become back coastal, going back and forth from Cali to New York, from Tupac to Biggie, living that good life. Thank you to Jesus.
No, right on. But that, and that was probably a big major change for you because, I guess you weren't really used to the fact that you had to travel back and forth. So,
other than all that, I was going back and forth from Orlando to New York, but it wasn't that far of a schlep. Florida is very close to New York. It's like 2.5, 3 hours. This was like a full on 6-hour flight, time difference of everything. And also like, like it happened so fast that like literally my mommy had to leave me, so thank God I was 16, because if that would have happened when I was 12 and all that, that would have been a little different for me too. I mean, people don't realize, everything's great. The mirage and illusion's great, but sometimes you're stripped away from your reality. And it's like with the industry, when they say you're at its beck and call, you are at its beck and call. It's like Eminem saying you get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So sometimes you just gotta get off the pot and YOLO.
Right on. And that's what I mean too, by, because when you were on all that, even though you were traveling back and forth, I'm sure you always had your mom with you. So,
yes.
Being that you're older now, being away for a week from your mom is like
life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. But this show, this series, Peter Engel's One World, was such a great show. And so great that you actually received the coveted Hollywood Young Star Award for your role as Marci Blake. What was it like getting that award?
That was my first award. I remember the first year I was nominated but didn't get it. And then I remember the second year I got nominated and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. And I remember I also was like the only Latina in the category, and it was a very special moment. I wish my mother was able to physically be there with me. She wasn't able to make it that evening, but for me, just to have gotten acknowledged and to win a Hollywood Reporter Award. And at that time, that ceremony was very new and up and coming. It's where they acknowledged young Hollywood. And I mean, I was, along stars that were in films and TV shows and just, all kinds of frequencies. And so to have gotten an award doing what I love, and to be a diverse actress and this little girl from New York just wanting to pursue her dreams and knowing that I got acknowledged, I really honestly, I was like on cloud nine, because I did not expect it. I think I remember Raven Simone gave me my award, and Monique, remember Monique, the comedian, she hosted the event that night. So it was definitely a night to remember. And then I got whisked away. And I got interviewed by all this, media and paparazzi. And I just was kind of like an out-of-body experience. And to come home and say, Mommy, I got it. She was crying and I was crying. And it felt good that the universe and that my peers saw all the hard work that I was putting into what I was doing.
Hard work. Those are the key words right now, because that's something that you continued to do even after all that. No pun intended, by the way. But, over time, you eventually went on to do amazing things. You appeared on various television shows. We mentioned them earlier. But one show in particular, Disney Channel's The Proud Family. You played the role of La Cienega Boulevardez in that series. And I don't know, something about that series, it caught on, similar to all that. It took off. What was it like being a part of the Proud Family? And I'm talking about the OG Proud Family.
Yes. In the early 2000s, I had an audition for Bruce, and Ralph, the creator and producers. And I remember they were looking for actual on-camera actors to do this voiceover, because I had no voiceover experience, but I knew I could just talk for hours and that I could just be a spunky whether it was on camera or off. And when I read the script, I said, wow, Mom, this is something really special. And when I went in, I remember, La Cienega Boulevardez, she was a sassy frenemy of Penny Prouds, and she was the token, Latina. So I'm sure that, at one point someone had in mind, maybe the character should talk like this or be like this. And I remember going in and going, we don't need to put La Cienega in a box. I am Irish, Italian, Dominican from New York. So I have that Spanglish energy, but I'm also very Americanized. So just because we're Latina doesn't mean I'm going to talk like this, right? I said, let's make her relatable to kids here within America, as well as internationally, and show that just because you are diverse doesn't mean that you cannot speak eloquent and, have a great vocabulary, but with a little bit of a flair. So that's where La Cienega got created. Just she's kind of my alter ego, just with a little bit of a higher register. And there is a little bit of a Valley Girl essence to her, just because of my experience with California. A lot of people go, oh my God, you're from New York, but you lost your accent. I go, well, when I'm around my New Yorkers, I got my cup of coffee, get my pizza, my New York accent comes out. But La Cienega has been a blast. And doing the show from the beginning to now, oh my God, it is such a euphoric, serendipitous moment that I am just having so much fun. And I feel so blessed to be doing this alongside all of the original cast members. And now, we're going from tweens to teens. La Cienega is going to have a quinceañera this year. And, the only difference is like, my body's a little different, as far as the key art. And also now we're intertwining topics that are happening in the world, such as activism and LGBTQ community and, same-sex marriage and, adding social media to the mix. So I feel like we were a little ahead of our time when we first started, but we were always that authentic, organic concept of a show. The only difference from then till now is people are awoke. And now it's just the time. And the times are changing. And now I feel like everyone is completely, ready for this moment. And I could not have been more thrilled to be a part of this frequency.
Everything you just mentioned right now, that is the Proud Family. I mean, even during its time, back in 2001, that was, for an animated series, it was very hit. Yeah. Like they brought on all kinds of people on that show, right? You guys had Kobe Bryant, you had Big Boy from 92.3 there. I mean, so many people appeared on that show that I thought, it was so unique for a cartoon. I mentioned the fact that it was such a unique show during its time, and the fact that it's returned now, and you guys are continuing to, do different things to try to get people to figure out what's really going on in the world out there right now. It's amazing. It's cool to see that. But let's talk about the cast of the Proud Family. Again, similar to all that, you work with such a tremendous cast, different folks involved. Tommy Davidson, Kyla Pratt. Back in the day, you had Orlando Brown. So many people have appeared on this show. What was it like, being a part of this cast and working with all these talented people?
Amazing. When I am blessed to be in their presence, it's just elevated, to the 10th degree. A lot of what I do is solamente, a lot of it, not even because of the pandemic, but, people don't realize, I just go in by myself, and whether they're zoomed in or they're in person, now with the pandemic, people are zoomed in and it's just an engineer on the other side of the window. But now we're finally slowly coming out of the trenches and we're able to interact with one another. I mean, we just had a virtual live premiere for the launch of the show that just started on February 23rd. And we had a premiere a couple days before. And oh my God, that was massive. It was so cool. We, had the new artist that did the reimagined theme song perform. And, we have, EJ Johnson, which is Magic Johnson's son, that joined the cast. And he was hosting the live virtual event and interviewing myself and all the cast members. And, we got a chance to kind of all come out on stage at the end and do this really special bow with one another. And I've never done an XR studio virtual event like this before. And so you would have thought that we had an audience. You would have thought that we were shooting a live TV show. I almost kind of felt like the Proud Family Louder and Prouder was in person. Like that we were like in person and we were on camera and it wasn't a voiceover, because all of us actors have such a great fan base and we all have experience being, you know, on camera aside from being a voiceover artist, that there was a part of me that I was like, oh my God, we could just make this like an on-camera TV show and just literally like, you know, because a lot of us do kind of resemble our characters. I mean, Soleil, I love her, but she does not look like Zoe physically. But I feel like there is a lot of La Cienega that reminds me of me. There is a lot of Kyla Pratt that reminds me of Penny. You know what I mean? So I think it would be funny if we did like a live action of the Proud Family. Because that's what it felt like when we were doing this virtual event. And the outpour of the fans that were able to watch it, because it was kind of an exclusive, personal, private thing that Disney Plus was doing. You know, it wasn't out to the masses. It was for media and it was for some fans, and they kind of leaked it day of. It was like kind of like whoever caught it. But, you know, overall, we've been doing a lot of promotions, promoting the show. So people are able to kind of get a little sneak peek of us talking about behind the scenes and what we've been going through. And yeah, it's literally been a big family reunion. And I'm hoping everyone's loving it because I've been loving it.
Disney has been promoting this series hard. And, you know, it goes back to during the pandemic. Like, I want to say I saw like maybe some teasers back in 2020.
Yeah.
It could have been on their social media page where I think I saw a picture of you guys all in the recording booth.
Yes.
I think it was yourself. Kyla Pratt was there, I believe. You know, so the fact that you guys have been working on this like since the pandemic, since like 2020, obviously it's now, you know, streaming on Disney Plus. But I mean, there's a lot of time and effort that has been put into this show. And I think Disney recognizes the fact that this is such a unique show.
The time is now.
The time is now.
Everything that's happened in the world, the time is now. And there's nothing like it. It's really special. It's a melting pot. It's for ages 6 to 60. You could sit down with all ages. And we hope that just someone takes away learning something. You know, they put their cell phones away, they can watch it as a family, and maybe there's a topic that comes on that they can just talk about as a family. Maybe we gave a little boost of morale in an area of someone's life that they didn't know necessarily, you know, how to handle or deal, or we just hope simply that they just get a good laugh and they're entertained, right? Because it's important that you see a demographic and an ethnicity that you can relate to, you know? And for me, being a mixed nationality, it was important for me to be able to play a character that a little girl, boy could sit down and relate to and go, oh, she or he looks like us, right?
Absolutely. I agree. And yeah, you know, what's interesting is that there's like a Proud Family pop-up in Englewood.
It was a Sip and Sonder. They had a cafe, a coffee place that did a little pop up. And unfortunately, I was so sad I wasn't able to make it, but I reached out to them and I thanked them so much for everything. It looked absolutely adorable. And I gave a shout out to them on Instagram. And I just was so honored that, you know, that transpired. And now you can get us as merch in Target and as a doll, as a figurine, as a book bag, as a pillowcase, as a cup. Like, it has just been such a blessing, because what was transpiring in the early 2000s is very different from what we're experiencing now, you know, with the revival. Now we're really able to kind of go full force the way that I know we originally wanted to be. And now it's like amplified 10 times. So it's been a magic rainbow carpet ride that I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, you know, as later on this year, going into the following years progress, because, you know, there's room for all of us. And so now the sky is the limit. And I just can't wait to see what, you know, is in store for all of us when it comes to Proud Family, Louder and Prouder.
And I think amazing things are in store for you guys. I don't know if you noticed, but there seems to be like a trend there, right? There's like a pop-up for every popular show.
Yeah.
Like All That had theirs with Kel.
I'm sure that'll surface back. The Good Burger pop-up was so much fun. Fans loved it. And it just felt so good to have that support with previous fans and new ones. And, you know, now going into 2022, you know, I still want to give a shout out to a couple of my other projects. Like, I have a film that's out called Break Even that came out December of 2020. And, you know, it's been streaming this whole 2021, still going into this year. It's about 4 friends that steal and find 50 mil and we're on the run. being chased by cops and all this fun stuff. And you get to see me in a different light. It's my action kind of, adventure film. And shout out to Shane Stanley, who directed it, and CJ Wally, who wrote it, and my cast members from the movie. And then I have a documentary called The Orange Years that's about 80s and 90s Nickelodeon nostalgia that I'm in, and I'm also one of the producers. And that's streaming and available as well. So like you can go to breakevenmovie.com. You can go to theorangeyears.com to find out how to see all of my projects, and follow me on social media. My name's Alisa Reyes, and I have a Linktree link where you could see all the fun stuff that I'm doing. And even when I'm not on set, I coach acting to kids and adults when I'm able to have the opportunity. And you can find more about that at alisareyes.com, or sign up for my monthly newsletter, where you can get more information about my services and all that fun stuff.
I dig it. And by the way, I did watch The Orange Years. Great documentary, by the way. You guys did amazing work on that.
Thank you so much. It was a matter of time, and it was a really fun, nostalgic, memory lane project to do with Scott Barber, my business partner, and the Orange Years Tribe, and Gravitas, who backed up the film and helped get us out there. So, at the end of the day, I feel really blessed, whether I'm in front of the camera or doing voiceover or behind the camera, or I even have a couple songs, because I am a singer, on Spotify and Google and iTunes that you can purchase. I'm a little bit of a jack of all trades, but as long as I'm doing what I love, I couldn't ask for more. And you've been awesome. Thank you so much for all of your time and your energy. I've been having such a good time with you. Hopefully we'll do this again in the future.
Absolutely. And, I appreciate you coming on the show. And Alisa, for anybody else interested in knowing more about you, where can they find you online besides your website? You're on social media, right?
So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Snapchat, and I'm on TikTok. My name across the board is Alisa Reyes, but on TikTok, someone took my name. So I am the official Alisa Reyes on TikTok. And my website, pretty much alisareyes.com, has all of my links. And, by the grace of God, I am verified. So make sure you follow me. That has a little check mark. And I like to try to stay in touch with my fans and friends and family, so feel free to DM me and say hi. And if I'm able to get back, I will, because I appreciate the love and light. I send it back.
Alisa, also, because this is the Grizzly podcast, what we do here, like I mentioned earlier, this is a podcast where we help inspire others to continue to stay on their grind as well. So if you were to offer any advice to anybody that's actually pursuing their dream right now, what would you say to these people?
I would say to stay grounded and to make sure that you create what I like to call your own mantra. It's like your own prayer to yourself, manifest, 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 have faith, stay optimistic. What you put out comes back to you. Surround yourself with love and light, and make sure that the people that are around you support you. You don't want to be drained by frequencies that are not of what your original blueprint is. And to just simply have faith and believe. I believe in God. So if that's what you believe in, wonderful. If whatever gives you that faith and that hope and optimism, remember, you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it. And just honestly, one day at a time, and just remember to just breathe. This too shall pass. Whatever's meant will be yours, as long as you put forth that energy out.
Thank you for the advice, Alisa. For those of you that are listening right now or watching this episode of the Grizzly podcast, make sure that you guys keep up with Alisa Reyes and everything that she's doing. Follow her on social media. Visit her website. Buy some merch, because, man, I know she's got some dope merch on there. I checked it out earlier. There's like magnets, all kinds of stuff. So make sure you guys check it out. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us here on the Grizzly podcast. Again, we look forward to seeing everything that you're doing in the future. And with that being said, stay on your Grizzly, girl.
Love you. I'm going to stay on my Grizzly. Mucho besitos. Gracias. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
Get it pop. Let's get it.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about.
Follow the Grizzly Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more apps to have our episodes delivered right to your iPhone, Android, or any other device whenever they're released. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the Grizzly Podcast YouTube channel to access full episodes, video clips, and more on YouTube. The most authentic podcast is online at grizzlypodcast.com and on all major podcast platforms. Guest appearances and real conversations that will push you to hustle. The Grizzly Podcast is now streaming.
Hi, and welcome to Trademark Expediters. Whether you need a trademark or copyright, we can help make the process easy and affordable. Protect your company name, logo, or slogan with the trademark. Protect your songs, books, photographs, and other creative works with a copyright. Complete our easy online questionnaire in 15 minutes or less. Clear pricing, no hidden fees. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Get started today. Learn more at trademarkexpediters.com or call one of our friendly specialists at 1-800-510-1082. Affordable, easy, expedited service. Trademark Expediters.
Yo, turn it up.
Hard work, dedication, and progress. Stay on your Grizzly.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out another Grizzly Podcast episode. We'll see you next time.